So, you're looking at higher education in India. It's huge. I mean, it's one of the biggest systems in the world. But with thousands and thousands of colleges, how can you be sure that a degree is actually, worth it? In this explainer, we're going to untangle this pretty complex web and show you exactly who's calling the shots.
And when I say huge, I'm not kidding. We're talking about more than 1,000 universities, and that doesn't even count the tens of thousands of colleges affiliated with them. It is, without a doubt, a massive, massive system. And that size, well, it brings its own set of challenges.
So that's the big question, right? In a system this enormous, who's the referee? Who makes sure the quality is there? That's exactly what we're going to get into. We'll introduce you to the key players and break down how they all fit together to keep standards high across the country.
All right, so at the very center of this whole universe, there's one main guardian. Let's start with the biggest name in the game, the one you've probably heard of, the University Grants Commission, or as pretty much everyone calls it, the UGC.
So what exactly is the UGC? Well, in simple terms, it's a powerful body set up by the Indian Parliament way back in '56. Its main job, its whole reason for being, is to coordinate, determine, and maintain the standards of university education. You can think of it as the ultimate quality control agency for higher ed in India. And it's got quite a history. The UGC didn't just appear out of nowhere. It actually started small, back in 1945, looking after just 3 universities. But then, after independence, its role just exploded. By 1956, Parliament made it official, passing the UGC Act and turning it into the major regulatory force we know today. So, what does it do day to day? Oh, it wears a ton of hats. It's the money guy handing out funds and grants. It's the rulemaker setting the minimum standards for what gets taught. It's the bouncer at the door deciding which new universities get recognized. And if you want to be a professor, it's the one running the all-important national eligibility test. It does a lot.
Okay, so the UGC's got general education covered, but what about the really specialized stuff? Like engineering or medicine or law? Who makes sure a future doctor is getting the right training? Well, that's where another layer of regulators comes into play, the professional councils.
And this is the best way to think about it. The UGC is like the general contractor building a skyscraper. They're in charge of the whole project, making sure the foundation is solid and the overall structure is safe. But the professional councils, they're the expert subcontractors. They're the master electricians, the structural engineers, the specialist plumbers who come in and make sure their specific, highly technical part of the job is done perfectly. So let's meet a few of these specialists. For anything technical like engineering, you've got the AICTE. For all things medical, the NMC calls the shots. And for the legal eagles, the BCI is the final word. Each one is a master of its own domain, operating under a specific government ministry to guarantee top-notch quality. Now we're getting to the really crucial part. This is the bit that every student, every parent absolutely needs to understand. How do the general contractor, the UGC, and all these specialists work together? It all comes down to something called the dual approval rule.
Okay, so listen up. This is key. For any professional degree to be legitimate, it needs 2 things, no exceptions. First, the university itself needs the basic license from the UGC. That's step 1. But second, the specific course you're taking, the BTech, the MBBS, needs that specialist stamp of approval from its council. You need both. One without the other is a huge red flag.
Let's make this super clear with an example. Say you're signing up for an engineering degree, a BTech. It is not enough for the university to just be on the UGC's list. That specific engineering program has to also be approved by the AICTE. It's a 2-part equation.
And it's the exact same logic for every other professional field. If you're a medical student, you need your university to have UGC recognition, and your MBBS course must have the green light from the National Medical Commission. That dual lock is what guarantees the quality of these critical degrees.
So that's the system as it works right now. But things are always changing, right? The National Education Policy of 2020 has kicked off a plan for a massive shakeup of this whole structure. So let's take a quick peek into the future and a proposal called the HECI.
The big idea here is something called the Higher Education Commission of India, or HECI. And the thinking is, well, having all these different bodies can get a little messy sometimes, right? There can be overlap and confusion. So the goal of HECI is to take big players like the UGC and the AICTE and merge them into one single, powerful regulator to, hopefully, make everything a lot simpler.
Under the proposal, this new HESI would be split into 4 clear divisions, what they're calling verticals. Each one would have a very specific job, one for regulating, one for funding, one for setting the standards, and one for accreditation. The idea is to have a really clear separation of duties to make the system more efficient and transparent.
Now, I have to put a big asterisk here. This is incredibly important to remember. Right now, as we speak, the HCI is just a proposal. It's an idea. It has not been made into law yet. That means the dual system we just spent all this time talking about with the UGC and the professional councils is still the law of the land today.
And that kind of leaves us with a really fascinating question for the future, doesn't it? This plan to swap out this complex web of regulators for one single superbody? Will it really make things simpler? Or, by putting so much power in one place, could it accidentally create a whole new kind of problem? That right there is the big debate shaping the future of Indian education.